Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope everyone is fine. So I'm suffering some cold and fever. So I'm uploading offline videos. So today we are in 16th session, children. Now we are in 16th session, children. 16th session, 9th class 16th session. Now we are going to discuss about, we are in the discussion of unit 3. Main theme is social life. Reading part B, not a T. Okay, reading part B will discuss. So in the previous class, what we discussed about the phrasal verbs. Is it right? And direct and indirect speech. Okay, later in the coming classes, I'll take up this grammar part. So in detail, I'll take up. But now we'll discuss some whatever he gave about the textual grammar. Later, I'll discuss clearly about the direct and indirect speech. So grammar part, direct and indirect speech. Headmaster, why didn't you come to school yesterday? Sir, my mother was suffering from fever. Headmaster, I don't believe your words. You always say something or the other to escape from school. Swami, I am speaking the truth, sir. Headmaster, well, I will come to your house tomorrow and talk to your parents. This is a dialogue method. So here, if you observe it clearly, this is the headmaster's direct words spoken by the speaker. Always it will be in the present tense. Why didn't you come to school yesterday? About yesterday, he's asking. He said the reason, and after that, it's Swami's dialogues. It's a headmaster's. So if you observe it clearly, these are the words directly spoken by the speaker. Okay. For these words, for these dialogues, if you want to write it as a indirect speech, means converting into the paragraph by the third person, how it will be? For example, I am the Swaminathan. Yesterday, headmaster asked it to me. So I said something. So I'm going on saying to my friend. The headmaster asked Swami, or my friend who heard the conversation, he's saying to the other person. The headmaster asked Swami why had not come to school the day before. Here what we read? Yesterday. Yesterday. Why didn't you come to school yesterday? But here it's changed as a why he had not come to school the day before. It is a third person's conversation. Swami replied respectfully. See, here Swami dialogues were converted into a speech, indirect speech. Third person is saying, Swami replied respectfully that his mother had been suffering from fever. The headmaster retorted that, means suspected him, that he did not believe his words and added that he always said something or the other to escape from school. Then Swami replied respectfully that he was speaking the truth. Then the headmaster told him that he would go to his school the next day and talk to his parents. That is in direct speech. This is in indirect speech of using, instead of previous, the day before, links respectfully, retarded, continuation, then to change it into the indirect speech. These are the, as you can see, while converting the direct into indirect speech, the words is in the bold are added to express the feelings, emotions, attitudes of the speaker and the sequence of the action. Those words, like you in front of the two people are talking, this is converted. Third person, whatever he observed about their conversation, he's saying again in his own conversation and expressing the emotions, attitude of the speaker. Here he gave exercise also for you. Read the following imaginary conversation between Swami and his father. Swami's father, my dear Swami, why are you looking so dull? Why haven't you gone to school today? See, whatever in the present tense, it's all going to change to the past. Swami's father asked, Swami's father asked Swami, why, why was he looking so dull? Why had he, why he had not gone to school that day? Today will become that day. Swami replied to his father that he did not like the school. The headmaster beats me every day, beats me. The headmaster had beaten me every day. Like that, we need to convert. This is exercise. This conversation, better take it as a homework and try for that. In the previous class, your ninth class, in eighth class, I taught you. I gave a big lengthy of notes also how to follow the instructions. So please, once you refer, go through the eighth class books about the kinds of sentences I taught you, like declarative, interrogative, and what's more imperative sentences, exclamatory sentences. If it is a declarative sentence, what the link ups we need to use, like that. If it is interrogative, two types of questions will come, yes or no questions or WH questions. What the linkers we need to use to direct and indirect speech. I gave a big explanation and the notes to you people. Once you go through it and try to apply those rules on this paragraph and change it. This is your homework. Now come to the another part of the noun clause. Look at the sentence taken from the story. Already we discussed about the adverbial clauses in the first lesson. Usage of after and before. I'm telling about the time adverb. Here noun clause. It is going on focusing on noun. What's a clause? A clause. What's a clause, children? Already we discussed. Do you know what's a clause? See, what's a clause?
Hello friends, welcome to free grammar lessons. Today we are going to deep. So what is a clause? It is a group of related words. It has a subject and verb combination and it has a complete meaning by itself. You can consider a simple sentence as a clause. For example, he plays cricket regularly. Now, is this a clause? For that, we will check whether it is satisfying all the three conditions that we just discussed. Is it a group of words? Yes, it is. Here, he is the subject, plays is the verb, so it has a subject verb combination. And the whole sentence, he plays cricket regularly, makes complete meaning by itself. Hence, we can say it is a clause. Now, clauses are mainly divided into two parts based on their usage. It may be independent clause or dependent clause. An independent clause is actually a complete sentence by itself. It doesn't need any other clause for its existence. For example, you may sit. Here, you is the subject and sit is the verb, and the whole sentence is giving a complete thought by itself. So it's an independent clause. Then what is a dependent clause? It has a subject and a verb, but it doesn't have a complete thought by itself and is dependent on independent or main clause for a complete thought. For example, wherever you like. Here, you is the subject and like is the verb, and the whole sentence is having a meaning as well, but it's incomplete. Now, let's add a main clause to this clause. You may sit, and now the whole sentence becomes you may sit wherever you like. Now, here the entire thought is complete with one main or independent clause and one dependent clause. This is all about dependent clause. Now, dependent clause are mainly divided into three types: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Let's discuss about each of them. So, what is a noun clause? Noun clause is a group of words having subject and verb of its own, and it acts as a noun in the sentence. For example, I fear that I will fail. Here, that I will fail is a clause as it is a group of words having subject and a verb, and the whole clause is acting as an object of the verb fear. So it's a noun clause. Let's look into one more example of it. That you have come pleases me. Here, that you have come is a noun clause as it is acting as a subject of the verb pleases. So basically, this clause does the work of noun. Now, let's look into the next type of clause, adjective clause.
So children, come to the textbook. As you just already have seen, again I'm showing. Again we'll come to the noun clause. One student said that he had an attack of headache. What the one student said? He had an attack of headache. He had an attack of headache. This sentence has two clauses. Yes, one student is a one clause. That he had an attack of headache is an another clause. Is it right? Who had an headache? Just close this one student and read that he had an attack of headache. These whole clauses depends on one student, focusing on noun. Focusing on noun. The clause followed by noun is called noun clause. See, one student said is a principal clause, means main clause. That he had an attack of headache is a subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is dividing into a noun clause, adverbial clause, adjective clause. The subordinate clause is the object of the verb said. Yes, it is a noun clause because I told you one student. What he said? That he had. Just remove that one student. Who said? It's going on focusing on nouns. It's going on focusing on subject. The noun clause can also appear in the subject position and can be seen in the following sentence. What you say is not clear to me. If you replace the underlined part with it is not clear to me. Whom you are saying? Focusing on you. What you say is not clear to me. So in the above sentence, structure will be complete. Sometimes the conjunction can be left out in a spoken English. He felt that punishment was not enough. That is an adjective here. He felt, what he thought, that punishment, what's the punishment was not enough. So in this way, that is acting as an adjective here. In this way also we can. Editing we finished. So come to the next part. Here we have a conduct the part of a story. He restrained the tears that we were threatening to rush out, jumped down and grasping his book, rushed out, muttering, I don't care of your dirty school. Now imagine what will happen to Swami after going away from school. Write a narrative which should include dialogue, sensory perception, and narrative. For example, If you are there in the place, Swami rushed out from the class. If he goes to home, what was the reason has given by the Swami? Next day, why he was not going to school? If his parents asked, what happened, Swami? Why are you not ready for school? What was the reason he is going to give? What the situation he is going to narrate? What had happened in the class? How he is going to narrate to his parents? His parents asked him what happened at school. Yes, obviously, if your parents also may ask. His parents looked at the scars on his shoulder, that red marks. His father wanted him to go to school. Swami didn't like to go to school. If his father said, I pay just if he wanted to go and meet the headmaster may convince or father may convince whether for Swami likes to go to school. No. What is the reason? Just answer for these points in your words, then it will become a narrative. Dialogue should be sensory perceptions, means our sense should work. Why Swami rushed out from the school. Now come to the poem, children. Okay, these all the things will do later. Your homework, children. Imagine that you are the school public leader, SPL. Compare on the Republic Day celebrations in your school. Compare means anchoring. You may include the following in your comparing. Who is giving a welcome address, inviting the guest onto the dais, importance of the occasion, rest to continue the proceedings, both of things. Like this, comparing, even anyway you like to compare, no. Comparing is nothing but anchoring. So come to the reading part. Be children, not just a teacher, but a friend. Not just a teacher, but a friend. I had nowhere to turn, had nowhere to go. This is just something I think you need to know. I don't know what made me trust you. I still remember the day when I told you what I have been through. I thought I should run away, go hide in a hole. But then you really brought out my true soul. Here, the heading itself, not just a teacher, but my friend, about whom he's saying. I had nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, no place to turn, no turning points. Had nowhere to go, no place to hide. I don't know anything. This is just something that I think you need to know. You should know this. He's going on expressing emotions about his teacher. I don't know what made me trust you. I don't know how I trusted you, how I believed you, how I felt as your friend. I still remember the day when I told you what I have been through. On that day, I told my weakness to teacher. I told my weakness and I told my problems, inner feelings to you. I shared my life to you, teacher. I still remember the date. I thought I should run away, go hide in a hole. On that day, I thought to run away, escape anywhere, abscond from the school, from house, left from the house, and may hide in any hole. But you really brought my true soul. But on that day, you friend me as your, just you make me, or you are there to me to help me. On that day, I trusted you. I shared my feelings to you. Teacher, you helped me. You brought me. You encouraged me. You supported me. And to face all those problems, to touch, to true, brought out my true soul. Just with your friendship, in your friendship, I started living with your encouragement, teacher. In that way, he is. As each day grew longer, our trust became stronger. Each time I wanted to cry, You stayed there right by my side. See, each and every day, day by day, we are going on meeting daily. Our feelings, emotions, bondings were grew longer. Day by day, affection is going on. Affection is going on building. Day by day, I started feeling you like my true friend. Our trust became stronger. I started feeling you as my teacher, friend, well wisher. Our bondings, our trust becomes stronger. Each time I wanted to cry, every time I wanted to cry, but you are there to support me, back of me, by the side of me, to encourage me in all the situations, teacher. Then I moved to the next grade. Boy, was I afraid that our trust would slowly fade. But I was wrong. We are still strong. But he moved to the next grade, next class maybe. Boy, was I afraid. Then I afraid. You may not there for me. You may not, we may not meet continuously. But our trust would slowly fade. My trust is going to become fade. It's going to become dull because I moved to the next grade. Then you're not there in front of me. You're not coming to my class. I thought, but it was wrong. We are still strong. Even though sometimes you don't have time, you at least ask me if I'm fine. See, teacher is an utter gender, maybe a female may come or male may come. Even though sometimes you don't have time, teacher, you at least you ask me, are you fine? Even though sometimes I'm not, I feel like I have just been shot. I smile and say, yes, I'm right. See, this is the situation. Though I'm facing problems, when you ask, are you fine? Though I'm short, though I'm facing some problem, I'll say, I'm right. I'm all right. Then I walked away. You are out of sight. I will just have to wait. Then after some time, you are going on your bike. You are out of sight. You are not on my side in front of me. I just have to wait. I still have my fate. I'm just waiting for you to meet you again in my career. I'm so glad, so happy, teacher, that you were there when I was sad. I'm very, very happy, teacher. I'm just very, very glad to you, teacher. When I'm suffering from my problems, you gave me full of your support. You encouraged me in many situations, teacher. And this is what makes you not just my ninth grade teacher, my friend. This is what, not I'm my ninth grade teacher. That teacher may be my friend. This was a poem was written by the ninth class child and expressed his emotions, feelings about his teacher. Like you people only wrote. That's why he didn't give any author's name. So, okay, children, what's your homework, children? Comparing, comparing or anchoring. This is your homework, children. Just that is your homework, children. Thank you.